Towns get quiet at night, but there is one place where silence is not peaceful. People living there say the moment the sun drops, something begins to move between the empty streets. It watches windows. It follows footsteps. And anyone who tries to stay outside after dark rarely makes it back home in the same state of mind. If you click the thumbnail, you already know this is not a ghost story. This is a pattern, a real incident that shook a town and forced everyone to follow one rule: never step out after sunset. Tonight's story takes us to a small valley town tucked between old hills, a place where nothing dramatic ever happened until a series of strange events turned daily life into a waking nightmare. This is the full chronicle of what locals now call the silent hours. What started as a few complaints grew into a list of disappearances, identical sightings, and a police investigation that still has no clear explanation. Let's start at the beginning. If you walked through this town during the day, you would never guess anything was wrong. Kids played near the market. Shopkeepers argued about prices. The streets looked normal, but every day around 6:45 p.m., something unusual happened. You could literally see shutters closing at the same time, doors locking, footsteps rushing home. Not a single person stayed outside once the street lights turned on. Visitors found it strange, but locals treated it like brushing teeth, something they did without question. It wasn't always this way. According to the older residents, everything changed after one night. The night everyone heard the same sound. It was early winter. The power had gone out around 7 p.m. People were lighting candles and settling down when the scream echoed across the valley. Not a normal scream, not a cry for help, more like someone trying to yell while their voice was being forcefully pulled back into their throat. Dozens of people heard it at the same moment. Some were sure it came from the woods. Others said it echoed from the main road. A few swore it was right outside their homes. The scream lasted for maybe 3 seconds. Then it stopped. Police searched the area for hours. Nothing. No body. No blood. No broken branches. Not even footprints in the cold dirt. The official report described it as an unidentified sound. The residents described it differently. They called it a warning. A month after the scream, a 19-year-old delivery boy named Harris got a late order from the edge of town. He left on his bike around 7:30 p.m. That was the last time anyone saw him. The next morning, his bike was found near an old water tank. The strange part was the position. It wasn't thrown or crashed. It was standing straight, perfectly balanced, as if someone placed it there. His bag was still attached, money untouched, food still sealed. Police assumed he slipped and fell down a slope. Search teams scanned the entire hill. They found nothing. His phone was discovered 3 days later. No cracks, no dirt, no signs of a fall. The last message on his phone was a short audio recording that lasted 4 seconds. Only 2 things were heard: his breathing, and then the same choking scream the town had heard earlier. After that day, the rule became strict. No one went out after sunset. There is one piece of footage that has never been made public, but a retired officer who worked on the case revealed what was seen. A shop owner forgot to turn off his CCTV camera one night. Around 1:12 a.m., the camera caught movement at the far end of the street. The officer described it as a tall figure but slightly bent, moving in short, unnatural steps. It stopped at the exact spot where Harris's bike was later found. The officer said the figure looked like it was listening to something. It stood still for almost 2 full minutes. Then it tilted its head to one side like a curious animal. Right after that, the camera froze for 10 seconds. When it returned, the figure was gone. The officer tried to save the footage. By the next morning, the file was corrupted. Only a few seconds remained, just enough to confirm the shape was not human. The police quietly shut down the topic. Despite the silence, people had their own experiences. The shopkeeper, He said he heard something tapping on his shutter at 2 a.m., slow, rhythmic, not like a human knock, more like someone dragging nails across metal. The school teacher, she was driving home near sunset when she saw something crouched near a street light pole. She said it was thin, almost stick-like, with long arms that touched the ground. It lifted its head slowly as her car passed, but its face was in shadow. The old couple, they claimed they heard footsteps walking outside their home every night for a week. Slow steps, one after another, but when they looked through the window, the road was empty. 3 different stories, same type of figure, same nighttime pattern. Everything circles back to a single location, a small abandoned lookout point on top of the hill behind the town. Years ago it was used by forest guards. Today it is a broken watchtower and an empty cabin. People say the problem started when someone tried to rebuild the structure. 3 workers quit on the first day. They said they heard someone walking inside the cabin even though it was empty. One worker claimed he saw handwritten warnings on the walls. Words scratched with something sharp: "Do not stay after dark. Keep the valley quiet. Do not look at it." The next morning, the scratches were gone. One incident changed the town's fate. A group of teenagers went to the hill one evening. They wanted to record a video for fun. They reached the watchtower just as the sun was setting. According to the only survivor, everything was normal until one of them pointed at the tree line. Someone was standing there, tall, still, facing them. They panicked and ran back down the hill, but the figure kept appearing between the trees as if it was cutting the distance without running. The survivor said the last thing he saw was one of his friends being pulled away. Not grabbed, pulled, like something invisible wrapped around him and dragged him back into the woods. Authorities found 3 torn jackets and 1 shoe. That is all. The survivor's story scared the entire valley. From the next day, the sunset rule became law. People have theories. Some say it is a forest creature. Some believe it is the spirit of an old guard from the watchtower. A few think it is something older, something that existed before the town even formed. The only thing everyone agrees on is that it reacts to sound. The quieter the town stays after dark, the fewer the sightings. Silence became their only protection. To this day, locals follow a simple routine. They finish their chores early. They lock their homes. They keep their lights low. And once the sun disappears behind the hill, the town turns silent. Not because of superstition, not because of fear of the dark, but because they still remember the nights when something walked the streets, something that listened, something that watched, and something that never wanted the valley to make noise after sunset. This is the mystery the town still lives with, and no one knows if it is waiting for the next sound.